Marais, when you set out to be an umpire, what was in your mind? Did it just grow out of being sports master at school and umpiring games, or did you have an intention once you'd finished playing?
Um, yeah, when I started umpiring, I wanted to be a first-class umpire in South Africa.
Yeah,
My initial goal was to umpire more first-class games than I played. But
which was how many?
I played 53,
Okay,
and I'm on over 100 umpiring now. So yeah, I've managed to do that. But because it went well right in the first couple of seasons, I reset my goals to I want to be an international umpire. So yeah, I was quite driven and quite committed, and luckily had the support of my wife and my family. Because it took a lot of time.
and at a certain point, you needed to say, okay, I'm not going to teach anymore because you carried on doing both, and the financial implications from going to something secure and something exciting but not yet in your hands. How hard was that?
It was a hard decision, but I made it quite suddenly. End of 2007, I just realized that it's quite difficult to do both because I made my international umpiring debut in 2006 already.
Yes,
Started going on overseas trips and be away from school for a month, and I also felt it was a bit unfair to the school at the time. But the challenging thing was I didn't have a full-time contract. I only had an 8-month contract with Cricket South Africa at the time,
right.
so it was a financial risk. But I was quite committed and quite confident that I can crack this.
So what's the route to the top? Obviously, schools cricket, clubs cricket, first class cricket at provincial level, and then presumably it's wide open.
Yeah, from the first class panel in South Africa, Cricket South Africa picks 3, sometimes 4 guys on their what's called the international panel. So all 10, now 12 test nations have an international panel. And they are the 30, 40 guys that feed into the elite panel. And the elite panel of 12 are picked by the ICC. So we're 12 there, about 30 in the next level, and that's basically the route.
What's the spirit amongst the umpires? Because if there's only 12 slots at the top, you presumably can't help feeling a little pleased if someone in the top 12 has 3 or 4 howlers in a row.
I wouldn't say that. We do see ourselves as the third team in a match.
Yeah.
We're known as the PCT, the playing control team. And it's important that when people speak about umpires, they hardly ever speak about individual umpires. It's
Yes.
the umpires were bad.
Right.
So if your colleague is having a tough day, you are also going to be criticized. And I experienced that in 2013 in the Ashes in the UK when we got criticized from every corner.
Yes.
But
Justifiably?
maybe for half of it, but because the very first test there was 1 or 2 incidents, and then the second test there was 1, and suddenly the umpires are bad. But if you only make 1 error in a 5-day test match, you will have the best ratings in the world, because over 5 days, I think on average there's about 2.5 errors per umpire. So 1 error would be great, but it was just a cumulative reaction to. And there's a headline that I saw on BBC during that
Yes.
that Ashes where it said the ICC should sack Erasmus, says boycott.
Yes.
So I've also had that in a particular test match where I actually did really, really well.
Yes.
But that's the opinion of one scribe.
When you bump into someone like Jeffrey Boycott, who has that opinion of you, do you chat or do you just nod?
Oh, I do
Yes.
chat, because he's also doing a job that he thinks needs those type of comments.
And which he happens to think he does incredibly well.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So, and I have a job to do. So, yeah. But he has invited me to play golf with him. So, I don't think it was a personal thing.
Well, maybe we'll ask you about it after the game. But umpiring's obviously changed with technology. Each team in a test match per innings has 2 opportunities to review decisions, the decision review system. Is there a danger that closes the gap between the really superb umpires and those who are merely good, that this is an equalizing factor, maybe better for the game, but maybe not so good for the skill that you're trying to hone?
I do think that the really good umpires, their skill will still be shown, because when we do the statistics afterwards, we are still measured on our initial decisions and not after DRS.
Yes.
So you can still see who had the most decisions correct, and then when we challenged, sometimes we can rectify errors because this beast is just too difficult to handle, and there will always be errors. So the best umpires are still, proven by statistics. So.
I'm just wondering though, with DRS, does it change after teams have lost their 2 reviews? maybe they're only 4 wickets down, there's a lot of cricket still to play, so you don't have your safety net of a review. Does that change the way you go about your job?
I believe it shouldn't, but it probably does, because we also don't want it to ruin the game, and we probably feel a little more under pressure when we know that safety net is not there anymore. And that's why sometimes I'm frustrated as an umpire when players willy-nilly use up a review. And I'm not sure now that they don't get more reviews after 80 overs because of the change to the umpire's call. So maybe we must still, work on that. And I would prefer them always to have a review, always to have that safety net.
Because there would be a tendency, I would think, to become a bit of a not-outer. So when in doubt, just don't give it out. When you're under that kind of pressure, is that how it happens?
Not sure. I think my philosophy is I want to have every appeal correct. So whenever a team appeals, I give that decision because I believe in that moment that is the correct decision, either out or not out. I don't think I'm good enough or in that moment can think of the consequences of, let's just go not out, we're not out. I try and be correct at that moment. Not always correct, but I try.
I want to get your view on this. When a decision of yours is reviewed and it's overturned, you got it wrong, and the commentators are saying, well, Marais Erasmus certainly got that one wrong. You must have two feelings. The one is, okay, I got it wrong, and I assume you take huge pride in your work. The other is the love of the game and saying, okay, well, the right decision was arrived at, even without me.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the true. What I do in that process is while we're reviewing my decision that it's incorrect, most of the time it's on the big screen.
Yes.
I try and gain, okay, why did I make that error? Learn from it quickly and then move on.
I want to see if you can describe this for us, because I can never imagine your job, having never even umpired a kids game. But it's a crucial point in the game. The stadium's full, the crowd's roaring, and someone who bowls really fast comes steaming in, Kagiso Rabada, and there's a marginal decision. Presumably it all happens in less than a second, the key moment. How do you start dealing with that? Do you have a set method?
I wouldn't think that I have a set method. I think umpiring is natural to me.
Yes.
So, I react to whatever happens in front of me. I can tell you that in the 2010-2011 Ashes, I wore a heart rate monitor, and my heart rate was like 52 at the time. And then there was an appeal with an immediate challenge, and it shot up in those milliseconds to in the 90s.
Okay.
So if people think by looking at us that we stay calm and we don't react, you should just take that information. That it matters to us. But to me, it's just I react to what happens in front of me. There's no process that I think about. It must be as natural as possible.
Do you sometimes take longer? Even obviously some decisions are obvious. Yeah. But are there occasions
I try and have a rhythm.
Yes.
To my decision making. But I did actually in a test match earlier in 2017. Came back after a long break, 6-week break, didn't umpire, and sort of lost my rhythm. And we have umpire coaches and guys that analyze our performances. And someone mentioned to me that you were slightly, either quicker or slower in some of those decisions. So I had to go back, revisit that game, try and just think about it, and to get back to my original method. Yeah.
When you give someone out, show us how you do it. So it's quick. It's just like that.
Yeah. When I started umpiring, my hands were behind my back.
Yes.
So the arm had to come all the way. But then I found myself one season, suddenly my hands were in front of me. Never thought about it, just happened. It's quite minimalistic.
Did you not do this because Rudy Kutsen had patented it as his own?
Oh, well, Slow Death is a legend too.
Yes.
But no, mine was more a Ven Kataragawan from the back and the arm on the side. But hopefully this is now my way.